Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat Nastamesya Bhadrasya Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistike. This morning I will be reading from the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 1, text 14. I will just recite the Sanskrit first. Apana samsritim goram yannama vivashohinam tata satyo vimuccheta yad pibeti svayam vayam. Translation. Living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death can be freed immediately by even unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, which is feared by fear personified. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Vasudeva, or Lord Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead, is the supreme controller of everything, and as such, he is feared by all others. There is no one in the creation who is not afraid of the rage of the Almighty. Great asuras like Ravan, Hiranyakasipu, Kamsa, and others, who were very powerful living entities, were all killed by the personality of Godhead. And the Almighty Vasudeva has empowered his name with the powers of his personal self. Everything directly related to him is identical with him. It is stated herein that the name of Krishna is feared even by fear personified. This indicates that the name of Krishna is non-different from Krishna. Therefore, the name of Krishna is as powerful as Lord Krishna himself. There is no difference at all. Anyone, therefore, can take advantage of the holy names of Lord Shri Krishna, even in the midst of greatest dangers. The transcendental name of Krishna, even though uttered unconsciously or by force of circumstances, can help one to obtain freedom from the hurdle of birth and death. Repeat the verse again. Apana samsritin goram yannama vivashorinam tata satyo vimuccheta yad pibeti svayam payam. Living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death can be freed immediately by even unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, which is feared by fear personified. Om Ajnana Timandasya Chananchala Salakaya Satsunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayarupakanhamayam tadapi swapadantikam Vandeham Shiyuda Pranakamanam Shiyum Vaishnavansha Shiyupam Jagajatam Saganagnatam Pitam Tam Sajivam Sadvitam Sabdutam Parjanasaitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagalita Shivishakam Vitam Sa Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bandhu Jatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vansakalpavasha, Kripasinavasha, Bhaktinam Pavanabhyo, Vaishnavyo Namo. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Yadvaita Shiva Sangi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paskatani Desatani. With the blessings of all the Vaishnavas, the blessings of Gurmat Srila Prabhupada, I will try to say something on the powers of the holy name. Although Lord Krishna has invested all his powers in the holy name, the holy name will not manifest to us, or will not manifest all his powers to us if we are chanting with offenses. In Harinam Sintamina is a book written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and it's written in a form of a samvad, a dialogue between Lord Chaitanya and Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur. And there Srila Haridas Thakur explains the glories of the holy name to Lord Chaitanya because he requested him to speak. That, of course, Haridas Thakur said, if you make me speak, I will speak. That, and he said, yes, the holy name, the chanting of the holy name is a process with 3 stages. The first stage is an aparat state in which we make offenses. The second stage is the namabhas stage, also called anartha nivritti. That's the stage where we chant the holy name without offenses. And Haridas Thakur mentions in Harinam Chintamani, one who chants the holy name without offenses in Namabhas, one who chants Namabhas is a Kanishta Adhikar. So we are only a Kanishta Adhikar when we chant without offenses, or start to chant without offenses. And then the third stage, Haridas Thakur says of the chanting of the holy name, is the Sudanam stage. There's a difference in the effect of the holy name when we chant in aparat, practically no effect. In Namabhas, what is the effect? The effect is purification of the heart. When the heart is pure, we chant the pure name, Sudanam. And what's the effect of chanting the Sudanam? We develop love for Krishna. And that's the purpose. And that, of course, Srila Rupa Goswami also describes the devotional service as a process with 9 stages from Shraddha to Prema. And first you have Shraddha, you have faith, you hear from a spiritual master, you get faith, you read Prabhupada's books. Then you want to know more. Sadhu Sangha, you associate with the devotees, and from devotees, you learn the process of devotional service, Bhajana Kriya. This Bhajana Kriya has 2 stages, which are explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in the Madhurya Karnambini. And he writes there's Anishtita, Bhajana Kriya, and Nishtita. Anishtita means that we are unsteady, not always chanting 16 rounds, not always going to Mangalarti, unsteady devotional service. Then, and he mentions 6 symptoms of this unsteadiness. But this is a different study. But then when we become steady in devotional service, we chant our rounds, and we have a morning program. We read Prabhupada's books. We become steady. Then the question is, when we are steady, does the heart become purified? Question mark. That, well, probably it will, because that will help us to give up our offensive mentality. But it may also that our heart is not really becoming purified. We are not entering anartha nivritti because we commit offenses. Offenses means that we don't have the appropriate inner attitude for the chanting. This appropriate inner attitude, it means that one must be situated in Sambandha Jnana. Sambandha Jnana is knowledge of our relationship with Krishna. That is Sambandha Jnana. But to get that knowledge, one must know who Krishna is. Then we know, oh, I'm not Krishna. I'm the servant of Krishna. And what our relationship is with Krishna, not relationship is devotional service. That to be situated in Sambandha Jnana takes a while. We must hear Bhagavatam and so on. Because we may have a steady morning program, then after the morning program, we are going back to our old habits as the enjoyer and the controller of everything. We forget that we are servants of Krishna. So it's not easy to come to this correct Sambandha Jnana. What is the correct inner mentality to chant the holy name? That is explained by Lord Chaitanya. Trinatapi Shanichana Tarov Arabi Saisnana Amana Manadina Kirtanya Sadari. But it continues. Nadanam Najanam Nasanrim Kauta Pasi Shikami Mamacha Mamicha Mamishpre Bhavta Bhaktara Haitki. One must be more humble than a straw in a street, more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all respect, devoid of all false prestige. One should be ready to give all honor to others, One should not want wealth, not want followers, not want relationships with the opposite sex. One should only want to serve Krishna out of love, birth after birth, even not wanting liberation. So to attain this inner mood, that we must, this is the mood of surrender to Krishna. And that, so the giving up of these offenses goes hand in hand with surrender. And that surrender is explained by Bhakti Charu Maharaj as follows. I'm going to read some of excerpts of his lectures that are very applicable to understand how to come in the appropriate mood for chanting. Surrender means we are surrendering to Lord Krishna. Surrendering to Lord Krishna means let him take care. That is the meaning of surrender, Guru Maharaj said. The meaning of surrender is saranagati, taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. It means that Lord Krishna will take care of us to the extent we are surrendered. That's going together. And then Guru Maharaj speaks about once before the room of Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Goswami, the devotees were discussing something. So Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Maharaj was in his room in the temple, and outside his room some devotees were discussing something. So Maharaj came out and was asking, what are you discussing? And one disciple said, "Oh Guru Maharaj, since many years I'm chanting now this holy name, but despite I'm feeling I'm not making progress." And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj replied, "To feel that you are not progressing is good. When we think we are progressing and that we have become a great devotee, it's very dangerous. Of course, if we feel that we are not making spiritual advancement and nothing is happening, then we need to question ourselves." And Guru Maharaj says, yes, to what extent did I surrender? Because to the extent we surrender, to that extent will Krishna will take care of us. When Maya is attacking us, that is due to our lacking in devotional service, says. When we become subject to Maya's onslaught, then it's our fault, because we didn't submit enough. We are not fully surrendered, and therefore the Lord's illusory energy is bewildering us. But when we are fully surrendered to Krishna, then Maya also comes to test our devotion. And the devotees, by the mercy of the Lord, always pass those tests. When Maya comes, then Krishna is testing us. Maya is testing us how serious we become in our devotion. So yes, then Guru Maharaj speaks about surrender, but I think it's mentioned in Krishna Kishore Prabhu's book that Prabhupada, when Guru Maharaj was with Prabhupada in Vrindavan, one evening or in the night, I think, Prabhupada explained to Guru Maharaj there are two kinds of surrender. that the two kinds of liberation. It says there is negative liberation and there is positive liberation. That so the endeavor for negative liberation, Prabhupada said, is like a prisoner who thinks that getting out of the prison is the goal of life. And so to escape from the prison, they will dig a tunnel or trying to scale the wall, and then they may be out of the prison. But are they free? No. The police may get them again. So that's negative liberation, impersonalist liberation. They try to merge with Brahman, but it said in the Bhagavatam, in Aravind Daksha, this verse says, these impersonalists, the Vimuktamanina, they think they are liberated, but their intelligence is of Visuddha Buddhaya, still contaminated because they are not situated in this Sambandha Gyan. They just realize I'm not a body, I'm a soul, but who am I? They don't know. Part and parcel of Krishna. They don't understand. And therefore, they cannot go to the spiritual world. To go to the spiritual world, you need love of Godhead. To get love of Godhead, first, you must be situated in Sambandha, who Krishna is, who we are, what our relation. So it's nice to be liberated. They are situated in the Brahma Jyoti. And after a few millions of years, very peaceful. But it's boring, nothing to do. Srila Prabhupada, well, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, also Srila Prabhupada in the purport, the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the spirit soul is always active. That it must be active. It cannot be inactive. We want relationships, we want action. So they cannot go to the spiritual world, they have to come back. They will be arrested again by Maya. Finally. That's negative liberation, but Guru Maharaj speaks about positive liberation. A positive liberation, Prabhupada says, is that's the real way to get out of the prison. It's to make an appeal to the king, and the prisoner appeals to the king and says, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I promise I will not make that mistake again. I'm surrendering myself to you, and I promise you I will serve you, I will abide by your laws. And then Prabhupada tells you, then the king may say, okay, release him. However, the king may not release him right away. He may send a message to the prison authority and mention such prison has made such an appeal. Please look after him and see how he's behaving. So then the prison authorities start to watch him and to treat him in a special way. And when they see that he's acting properly, they use him as a role model, an example for all the others. That they use him as an example for the other prisoners. They tell the other prisoners, look, you act and behave like him. You will get the same facility. And then finally the king receives a report that he's acting so nicely, and the king feels, I need a good servant. Then the king says, okay, send him to my palace. Prabhupada said that is positive liberation, from the prison to the palace of the king. And when he's in the prison, he's not really treated as a prisoner. He's treated in a unique way because he's subject to state laws. So that is why ultimate goal of life is surrender to Krishna, Prabhupada explains. And then Guru Maharaj says, it's like a child. A child does not know what is for his benefit, but the parents, they know that as such, everything what is happening is for my benefit. Krishna knows what's for my benefit. I may not know it. When a child is submissive to the parents and the parents are capable, they make wonderful arrangements for the children. Similarly, when we surrender to Krishna, then Krishna takes care. Therefore, a surrendered devotee accepts suffering as Krishna's loving hand correcting us. So, at least that was the realization of Lord Brahma in his prayers to Lord Krishna, that he understood the best course of action is to patiently suffer the reactions of our past misdeeds. Therefore, a devotee does not become jubilant in happiness or distressed in difficulty. Now, in this mood of surrender, that like in this example that Prabhupada gives, the prisoner writes a letter to the king. We can also learn to express ourselves to Krishna in our own prayers. And I want to read now a prayer written by Mother Prabhupada Priya, one of my Bhaktivedanta students, brilliant student. But she made a prayer in her own words. And let's see if I find it here. That it's yeah, here it is. So this is her prayer. This prayer we can make our own prayer like that and pray before we chant. That it helps us to come in the right mood. She just prays, I'm the eternal servant of Krishna. But due to ignorance, I've gone astray and become lost in this world. Forgetting my eternal relationship with the Lord, I've identified myself with the body, thinking that my bodily relationship and my work to maintain this body are most important. Like this, I've passed one lifetime after another in various species. And this since time immemorial, I've been wandering in the cycle of repeated birth and death, suffering various miseries. Now, by the mercy of the devotees of Krishna, I've learned that I'm an eternal spiritual being and that I have nothing to do with this world. I'm completely different from my gross and subtle material body. I have an eternal life with Radha and Krishna in the spiritual world, which is my real home. My eternal family and friends are awaiting for me to come back, so that we once again blissfully can again blissfully serve Radha and Krishna together. I deeply long for this. I'm so fortunate that my path, I'm so fortunate that my path to the spiritual world has become clear. The Lord has personally come in the form of his holy names to dispel my illusion, revive my eternal relationship with him, and take me back home. I let go this material world and everything in it. There is nothing for me to do here. I hold tightly to the holy name so that nothing can get in between us. And I serve with all my heart by chanting full attention in complete dependence. That's a prayer that, but chanting in full surrender, that Prabhupada many times said we should chant like a child praying for the mother, that, yeah, crying for the mother, that I think it's in Prabhupada's explanation of the mantra. He advises us to chant holy names like a child crying for his mother. That's what Prabhupada says. These three words, namely Hare, Krishna, and Ram, are the transcendental seeds of the Maha Mantra. The chanting is a spiritual call for the Lord and his energy to give protection to the conditioned souls. This chanting is exactly like a genuine cry of a child for its mother's presence. Mother Hara helps the devotee achieve the Lord's Father's grace, and the Lord reveals himself to the devotee who chants this mantra sincerely. So this chanting of as a child crying for the mother, I found different lectures of Srila Prabhupada where he mentions this analogy. And in each lecture, he emphasized different aspects of this crying. The first aspect is helplessness. And so the mood of a child calling for the mother, it has different nuances. So one feeling is helplessness. A small child cannot survive without a mother's care. When children have good parents, they don't need to think about their own maintenance or protection. If they are hungry, if they are thirsty, they go to the mother. If they are tired, they climb on the mother's lap and they go to sleep. If they are frightened or they are distressed, they turn to the mother for shelter. And the mother is very happy to provide whatever needed. So that's the nature of the relationship. Similarly, when we chant with a mood of dependence on Krishna, Krishna, your material energy is too strong. I cannot overcome it. I cannot overcome my material attachment and illusions on my own. I'm helplessly caught in bodily identification. I need your help. So Krishna is very happy to accept our invitation and come to rescue us. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also, he demonstrates this humility in his song, Oe Vaishnava Thakur. Ekaki amara nai paibala, Hari name sankirtane. Tumi kripa kore shraddha bindu diya, Deo Krishna namadane. Alone I do not find the strength to carry out the Sankirtan of the holy name of Hari. Please bless me, giving me just a drop of faith with which to obtain the great treasure of the holy name. That's the first aspect of crying of a child, feeling helpless. Because many times something changed certainly in our lives. And Krishna brings us in a helpless condition. That's also his mercy. That is an instruction that Guru Maharaj gave me when I was in serious trouble. And his instruction was completely according to Shastra. He said, whatever happens in your life, good or bad, accept it as the mercy of Krishna. That sometimes we want to adjust our external situation. That if I adjust my external situation, then my life is going to be better. But it doesn't happen. We have to adjust our internal situation. And the first aspect is helplessness here. And the next aspect is from another lecture of Prabhupada on the same subject, a child crying for the mother. And that is focus. The relationship between the child and the mother is extremely close, also somewhat exclusive. When a baby cries, then there may be thousands of people who are willing to help, but none can console the child. Even the father is many times at loss in stopping the baby crying. No, the baby wants the mother. The crying is specifically directed toward the mother. There is a feeling towards the mother, I'm yours. So, similarly, when we chant the holy names, we should totally and exclusively focus on Krishna. Just when we chant, let all other relationships in this world fall away and connect with that one person. That one person who is always there for us, who is in our hearts since time immemorial. He has accompanied us for many lifetimes. He's our best friend. He's our eternal well-wisher. All other relationships, they come and go. And but our relationship with Krishna is eternal. It is the only thing we can really take ownership from in this world. That Krishna is mine and I'm his. And everything else temporary and limited. So during the chanting, we must focus on Krishna. That our mind may say, yeah, make your shopping list or whatever. No, not now. Our relationship with Krishna. So that's the second aspect. The first was helplessness. Second is focus. Now, the third one is love. That's so. Srila Prabhupada said the closest thing to pure love in this world is a mother's love for her child. Because the mother serves without asking something in return out of love. That, of course, it's still materially contaminated because she is concerned with her children, not with all the others. There's still some, but it is the closest thing to pure love in this world. That there's no closer bond of affection than between a mother and a child. No matter what her children will do, the mother cannot stop loving them. No matter how ugly children are, the mother sees them as beautiful. Even if a child rejects the mother and leaves home for years, the mother will receive them back with open arms at any moment. I remember when I joined the movement, my entire family rejected me. And then it was in 2004, my father left his body. And after that, my sister contacted me about heritage. And she said, your mother wants to see you. Okay. I went to see my mother. And I was dressed as brahmachari. And it was a very sweet reunion that I thanked her for being my mother and I embraced her. That's very nice. So a mother cannot stop loving the children. But then the day after, just the day after, due to Alzheimer, she lost her long-term memory. 3 months later, I was in Czech Republic, New Year's Day. I called her, and my sister took the phone and gave the phone to her. And I spoke to her. She gave the phone back to my sister and said, I don't know who it is. Where is the relationship? It's gone. No memory anymore. That all these relationships are temporary. Our real relationship is with Krishna in the heart. But a mother cannot stop loving the children. But even more than the mother loves a child, Krishna loves us. And when just now when I think of that Krishna loves us, I'm just thinking of Guru Maharaj. One of his favorite books was Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Sanatana Goswami. And he used this story to tell this story of Gop Kumar, who returns to the spiritual world. And there he meets Krishna. Krishna embraces him, and Krishna says, Swarup, where have you been all this time? I love you so much. And Krishna falls unconscious, so-called, out of love for his devotee. And Guru Maharaj said, no. if we would be just aware how much Krishna loves us, even a spark of that, how much Krishna loves us, we are not anymore in the material world. I found that so beautiful. And here, the same thing is there. That because Krishna loves us, he never wanted us to come to this material world. It was our choice. But he unwillingly sanctioned it. Still, he wants us to come back more than even we do. For every step we take towards him, he takes 10 steps towards us. Krishna is waiting with the open arms for us to turn to him. When we chant, we need to open our heart to receive his love and reciprocate by saying his names with affection. It's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 6:7. Chitatmana pashantasma paramatma samaita. If the mind is pure, peaceful, you find Krishna in the heart. Krishna is there. Lord Shiva says to Parvati, to Sati, he says, Krishna consciousness is pure consciousness. It's pure consciousness in which the Lord within the heart is revealed without any covering. That our covering is our false ego. Is this lust, anger, greed, madness, illusion, and so on in our heart? And we have to remove this covering. Remove this covering, we should make a little hole in that covering so that our consciousness can go through it and always be with Radha Krishna in the heart. And this connection is made by the spiritual master. Guru Maharaj spoke always about spiritual connections that same, because Guru Maharaj said Prabhupada in the heart. Prabhupada is Krishna in the heart. That's the way to get the mercy. But yes, when we chant, we need to open our hearts to receive his love. And we must reciprocate by chanting his holy names with affection. Put all your affection in it. Sometimes it's chanting, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yato yata nishalati manashans mamashvita. When the mind wanders, you have to bring it back. And it becomes a whole fight. The mind wants to do something else, and you have to bring it back again and again. And it becomes a fight, the chanting. But if you put all your love in the chanting, then that fight is not necessary. It will be easy to control the mind. Therefore, we need to say these holy names with all our affection. That love does the third. Helplessness, focus, love is a fourth one. The fourth is longing. Longing, because The child is not just speaking to the mother, it's calling out loudly, desperately, as if there is no tomorrow. The child wants the mother comforting presence. So our chanting should be with the same intense longing for Krishna's association. Rupa Goswami says in Nectar of Devotion that the only qualification required to going back to Godhead is lalya, intense free to attain it. So we need to be so eager to attain Krishna that our intelligence is singularly focused on that purpose. Ekana Karanandana, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. One-pointed intelligence. And this analogy is of the child crying for the mother is mentioned by Vritrasur in the Bhagavatam. Vritrasur is a pure devotee in the guise of a demon. And he offers beautiful prayers to the Lord using the same analogy. He's praying, O Lord, is eyed Lord, as baby birds have not yet developed their wings, always look for their mother to return and feed them. As small calves tied with ropes await anxiously the time of milking, and when they will be allowed to drink the milk of their mothers, or as a morose wife whose husband is away from home always longs for him to return and satisfy her in all respects. I always yearn for the opportunity to render direct service and to you. So we looked at it 4 ways. The 4 different ways in which Srila Prabhupada instructs us to chant as a child crying for the mother. So when we realize that we are powerless to make spiritual advancement on our own, we will be able to call out to Krishna with sincere feeling. That when we understand that Krishna is our very source and savior, we will chant with a sense of relationship that Krishna, I'm yours. That Krishna's love for us is unconditional. If we realize it, our heart will melt. And we will chant with affection. That when we realize that Krishna is our only shelter and is the most wonderful personality, we will chant with intense longing to serve him once again. Although we turned away from Krishna, he gave us a ticket, a free ticket home in the form of his holy name. So we should appreciate the infinite value of the holy name and how desperately we need the holy name. Then we will automatically make chanting the highest priority in our lives. With such humble state of mind, we will be able to chant the holy name constantly. Humble state of mind. This mood is very important. Bhujan Prabhu was my teacher of the Bhagavatam. And someone asked Bhujan Prabhu, are you self-realized? And Bhujan Prabhu said, yes. I realized I'm a complete nonsense. With that realization, you can chant the holy name. Thank you very much. Any questions? Yeah, 5 minutes. Comments? Yes.
Thank you so much for lovely and lively class. You mentioned early on in the class about the story of the mukti, about merging into the presence of the Lord. So that's one of the 5 muktis mentioned. And often Prabhupada mentioned that then the soul, because there is no activity there is no association, the soul always needs that, and the soul then falls back. But because it's mentioned as one of those 5 liberations, is it that every soul comes back, or do some souls that remain there?
Yeah, that's the question is those who are merging with the Brahmajyoti are the souls who come back, or those who remain, are they remaining there? It reminds me again to Virat Bhagavatamrita. Gopkumar enters the Brahmajyoti. And first he enters the Brahmajyoti and sees, he can't see anything, such an intense light. But after some time, he's there in the Brahmajyoti and then he hears something. And then he hears the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. And then he sees a bull coming, and on the bull is Sadashiva with all his followers, and they are doing Harinam in a Brahmajyoti. And Gopkumar is asking him, why are you doing Harinam? Oh, that we are doing Harinam in the Brahmajyoti to liberate all these impersonalists who are merged with with Brahman, that liberate them, to give them love of God. Unless they get the mercy, they remain there. But it's not that they have to come back. They can remain there also. But it's boring, that's the point. There's nothing to do. After a few million years, nothing to do. You want activity. But if they meet Sadashiva, they are fortunate. But otherwise, it's up to them. But yeah, we are not like a stone. That the Avisuddha Buddhaya, Aruya Krishna Parampadam Padam, with great effort they get there. But in the next verse, he says they have to come down again. And Prabhupada gives the example as the Sputnik. Sputnik, it has to come down again when attacked by the earth. They have to come down again. So it's an intermediate situation. It's not an eternal situation. And that is what we learn from it. That's what I can say.
Thank you.
Yes. Last question, maybe? Okay.
Yeah, last.
Yeah.
In the beginning of your talk, Maharaj, you mentioned the stages of chanting, Aparad,
Yeah.
Navavash, and Sudana. And when you said the second one, Navavash, you mentioned a Kanista stage. So I related that, the Kanista stage is the very beginning one.
And in relationship to Madhyam and then Uttama. So should the Namavas really Madhyam or Vishali stage?
No, that's Kanishta. But we have to be careful with that because there are different definitions of Kanishta, Madhyam, Adhikar according to different criteria. You have the definition in Nectar of Devotion, you have the definition in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, where Havir Yogendra gives these 3 stages, and sometimes they use other names. Kanishta is also called Prakriti Bhakta. But what, according to Haridas Thakur, is that Kanishta starts with giving up the offenses. Then you enter Anartha-nivritti. And that means before we are not even Kanishta. But the question is, how do we know our heart is becoming purified? What is the symptom? The symptom is when you are in Anartha-nivritti, your taste increases for the chanting. That's the main symptom. You become more and more attracted. And that. But as long as we are not in that Anartha-nivritti, we are in a very dangerous position. So we see sometimes devotees joining this movement. I've seen that they are on book distribution, enthusiastic and so on. But after some years, they fall and they stop practicing that. It means they never entered Anartha-nivritti. That because they don't have the taste. But therefore we must give up these offenses. And I have a whole seminar of giving up these 10 offenses. What I presented today is the introduction. And it's so important to work on ourselves so that we can come to the point to be respectful to the devotees, to respect the scriptures, to really sincerely follow the instructions of the spiritual master, to really want to be inattentive, to be attentive, give up this inattention, but the seed of that is that we are not properly situated in Sambandha Jnana. And what helps us to become situated in Sambandha Jnana is daily hearing the Bhagavatam and performing selfless service to the spiritual master. That combination will help us. Anyway, it's a big topic. Thank you very much. Granta Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Prabhupada ki, Guru Maharaj ki.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for a wonderful class on chanting and the different stages. Wonderfully